Welcome to the Fourth Phase podcast. I'm your host, JJ Parma, retired Navy SEAL with over 2 decades in the SEAL teams. And alongside me, as always, my swim buddy, Kristel. Today is a very interesting episode, and it's personal. I live in the impact zone. We wake up to the smell. Our kids are right across the water in both Imperial Beach and Coronado, California. And what's happening in our own backyard is one of the biggest stories that nobody is talking about. Over 1,000 straight days of beach closures. More than 100 billion gallons of raw sewage across our border since the year 2018. United States Navy SEALs getting sick, training in the same water we've used for generations. Here's the part that really should make you very angry. It was already fixed. The plan was funded. The pumps went in. The beaches opened for about 120 straight days. The cleanest water we had seen in years. And we're going to elaborate on that one. Then a political decision shut it down. The money got redirected, the pumps went quiet, and the beaches closed right back up. My guest today has been fighting this from the inside his entire life. Dane Crosby, born and raised in Imperial Beach, a SEAL family through and through. He built a nonprofit and went to war with Sacramento and Washington, D.C. to get the truth out there. Dane does not deal in talking points. He deals in documents, receipts, and hard numbers. By the end of this hour, you are going to understand exactly how a solved problem got turned back into a crisis, and who profits every single day it stays that way. Sit down, pay attention, and pay attention closely. This one matters. Dane, welcome to the Fourth Phase, my friend.
Hey JJ, thanks for having me. This is it's a honor to be here.
Yeah, I read that intro slow on purpose because you and I had a little pre-talk here today with Kristel. I think that the importance of this is so understated, right? I told you before, as an outsider, as a local, as a resident, I trained here back in 1996, 97 when I went through BUDS. You kind of just, you hear about dirty water in Mexico, and most people are just like, what's it all about? Why are we swimming in dirty water? It must be something they can fix, just a handshake. And after reading all the extensive research that you did, you sent me a Substack. We can talk about that at the end, so you got to read his stuff. But the work that you've done is far and away some of the best journalism I've ever seen in my life, like investigative journalism. I understand the problem now, and once you understand the problem, you become irate.
Yeah.
Let's talk about you a little bit. Born and raised in Imperial Beach?
Yeah. Born and raised. I grew up on the first block of Elkwood. My dad still lives in the same house. I went to high school in Coronado, junior high school, Coronado. My grandfather was a UDT SEAL. My brother was a SEAL with Charlie Platoon and his teammate, Chris Kyle.
Yeah, Chris Kyle's teammate.
Yeah. So I've known a lot of team guys. I know what they go through being in the water, the training they go through. My brother did 2 hell weeks.
Oh,
So I've seen it. I've lived it. I've supported it. I love what you guys do, and the water crisis directly affects you guys.
for sure. Yeah, for sure. You're a board member? of the Citizens for Coastal Conservancy.
I am.
Okay. Um, you fought Tijuana's sewage crisis at every level, federal, state, local. We know that. You have deep roots in the SEAL community, as you just mentioned. I won't mention your brother's name. Your godfather was Mark Crampton?
He was.
No kidding.
Yeah.
What a shame. What a great
Good man.
Great dude.
Yep.
One of the best frogmen. I had the pleasure of working with him when he was a civilian at Buds.
Yeah.
I was shocked when he passed away. You recently briefed Carl DeMaio.
Yeah. So they're like Steve Hilton, Carl DeMaio, all these people have come down. We tore them, the hot spot, which is down here on Saturn Boulevard. We basically found the hot spot in the early 2020 when the pumps were being turned off and on, and it looked like snow. There's 20 feet of this white foam, and we were trying to figure out what was going on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you maintain with your partner Leon
Yep.
a bat cave somewhere. That's
We
the
do.
intel center of this whole operation.
Yeah. Huge room with maps and diagrams and just every document that has to do with sewage. And if anyone has a question, we basically bring them to the bat cave. We show them where we've come from and where we're at and all the policies that made that happen. And it's pretty eye-opening. Steve Hilton's come, the controller, can't think of his name right now, running for anyway.
Yeah, no worries. Is it open to the public?
Yeah, so anyone can come, meet with us, and we'll give them a tour. So we'll educate you a little bit, then we'll go down to the border, and I'll show the hot spot, and then we go to a couple different spots and show, like, Smuggler's Gulch, the river channel, how the county changed the river's direction, so it actually runs backwards and closer to our homes. There's a lot of issues that have happened to get us to where we are now.
Okay. How much time do you spend in the bat cave? I know you have a full-time job.
Yep, have multiple jobs. My wife and I have a real estate brokerage. I have a contracting business. Leon is an estimator, and he is actually the one that built all the trails in the Tijuana River Valley.
Really?
So we have extensive knowledge of everything that's going on down there and how it got to be.
Man, well, you're the right guy. All right. So I'm going to try to have you explain this, and you did a good job because Kristel and I are now understand a lot better. Let's just assume that people watching know nothing about the situation.
Yep.
Let's talk about scandal number one. Talk about the political portrayal, SB 507, that type of stuff. How did it start?
SB 507 under Ben Hueso and some nonprofits. They basically created this state bill and got all the supermajority of Democrats on board. It sounded good on paper, but when you really look at what it is, it brings all the sewage to the United States. So their document basically circumvented the Trump plan. So Trump did a study in the River Valley, 2 years of Mexico and every facet of where sewage comes from. And it's called Arcadis. They're out of like the Netherlands or something.
We're talking 2020, 2016.
So Trump started the, I'd say 2016, 2017. He did like a 2-year study. And at the end of it was this 450 page briefing that told you of every issue of sewage and where it comes from and how to fix it and how to mitigate it. And so SB 507 was used to reallocate those funds. So while Trump was in office, he implemented the first phase of the Arcadis plan. It was supposed to be the most cost-effective and quickest solution. It was replacing all the pumps in the Tijuana River Valley. And so Ronald Reagan implemented this plan in the 80s. They put in the pumps so that Tijuana could get their Colorado River water, and it's worked from then to present. But Tijuana grew exponentially over the time, and these pumps were outdated. So they upsized the pumps. They put in these eviscerators that cut up all the trash so they don't get clogged.
Right.
They put them in, and as soon as they turn them on, we have 120 consecutive beach open days and the cleanest water I've seen since I was probably a teenager. And everyone's like, "Woohoo!"
And that was 2016,
No, this is like in 2020.
2020. Okay. Yeah, 2020 seemed to be an interesting year for everybody. Talk about more about the Arcadis. Arcadis was a firm, correct? Right? One of the
Ar-
biggest.
Arcadis is the best, most technical wastewater engineers in the world, and they're out of like the Netherlands, I believe. And they came and did the study, and they have like this document which we have at the Bat Cave. You'll have to come check it out,
Yep.
but it documents keep the sewage in Mexico. It's the most you're taking care of it at the point source. So you beef up the infrastructure, you upgrade the lift stations because Tijuana's on a hill, and you pump it all down to Punta Banderas. It's 7 miles away from the United States, goes in the ocean, it dilutes. We have the north to south current from Alaska down into Mexico, so most of the sewage goes south. Well, SB 507 basically inverts that plan. It does everything opposite. It says decommission all the infrastructure in Mexico. It says break these pipes, reconnect it to the international waste station, and put it all out the South Bay Ocean Outfall. The South Bay Ocean Outfall resides right here in Imperial Beach, 3 miles off of the shoreline in 90 feet of water. And so when you start putting millions of gallons of water uh, it, on salt water, it floats. So you have fresh water, really. It's coming to the surface. And then we have a littoral cell. So you have this Point Loma sticks out. You have this north to south current. It creates a backflow, an eddy on the inside. So it pulls all the sewage to shore and up into Coronado.
Unbelievable. So SB 507, this happened post Trump era.
Yeah, it was started um, probably in 2015 or 16 is
Okay.
what they started with. What it morphed into, um, there's a binational core group that was put in place in 2015 by Obama, and they kind of ran with the SB 507 and built it into what it became, and somehow it circumvented the Trump plan. They put this in place with a lawsuit, and then in the lawsuit, the consent decree that they came out with said the 300 million would be reallocated to the binational core group, and then they would implement their plan.
Okay. So just so everyone's clear, Trump came in 2020. We have 120 days of the cleanest water we've seen
Yep.
in years because of this Arcadis plan. It's on the Mexican side. That I guess they're contractors, right? So they figured it out. They did the study. Biden got elected. Is this when things turned?
Yeah, in 4 months, these pumps are turned off. This new plan comes into place.
Within 4 months of the election.
Yeah, within 4 months, our pumps are turned off. The money that the Biden administration, AutoPen, whatever, settled this lawsuit with the binational core group or the group that was suing. The money's reallocated to the binational core group. And then if you read the two studies side by side, one says keep the sewage in Mexico, the other one says bring it all here and let us treat it all.
And
Was there
so
a reason? Was there a reason that it would have been more effective to treat it here versus treating it in Mexico?
Yeah, if you want to spend more money and have
I'm just wondering. I mean, we all know in the state of the world today that politics often comes down to greed and corruption. It's who you know. But what was their reasoning that allowed them to become the dictating authority that they should be the ones that treat it? How did they frame that so that it looked like that was a better option?
it's a controversial question. I can't really answer the question because the binational core group came under Obama. Somehow they were working behind the scenes. So Leon, that's in my nonprofit, and lots of other board members sat on the IBWC Citizens Forum Board, and they're going to all these board meetings. They think they're making headway, like making decisions. But in the back, IBWC is taking direction from the binational core group. So you really have to ask, why is the federal government taking direction from a group that is really nonprofits? And then you look at who's on this core group, it's almost 70% Mexico. So you have Mexican nationals and groups steering a committee, telling the feds in the United States how to spend their money and in what direction.
So what I'm confused, not confused. I just need a little clearance here. What was the event when Trump had this under control? He leaves office,
Yep.
right? We're in the middle of COVID, which I'm sure didn't help. A lot of people were distracted and they could divert things. But what happens there that the Biden administration works with the state of California? So I assume that's what happened.
So we had the binational core group. We had the city of Imperial Beach. We had the city of Chula Vista. We had the Port District. We had a bunch of people that signed on to a class. It's not a class action, but a lawsuit against the IBWC because of sewage that came across the border. And it was kind of a nonsense because since their lawsuit, we've had billions of gallons come across and no one sued.
Yeah.
But somehow they got to the place where the Biden administration did a settlement agreement with them. And in that agreement, it's a consent decree.
Right.
They reallocated the $300 million and the treaty that Mexico agreed to about keeping the sewage in Mexico. All of a sudden, the sewage is coming to the United States, and we're going to treat it. And in that, it actually says we're going to clean their water to tertiary treatment, and then we're going to give it back 40 million gallons a day, free and clear. And you really have to ask the question, where does it go? Because they don't have a water district over there. Who's getting the water? Who's getting paid for it?
And
So-
who's monitoring it? Who's monitoring the 40 million gallons of water they're getting back?
Well, it's that's for another day. But
Well, explain to everybody what a consent decree actually is and how it's conducted.
a consent decree kind of hides who the players are, and it's a settlement agreement behind closed doors, so the public isn't privy to exactly what happened.
Yeah, isn't that convenient? And what did you do? FOIA request to get this?
Yes,
Yep. Smart move. All right, and you actually have the consent decree in your hands.
I do.
Good. All right, so this is great knowledge. What I like to call scandal number 2 in this whole situation. Tell us about the science fraud, because we've seen, like it or not, we've seen a lot of trust the science, right? In the last 6 years, maybe even before that, we just weren't aware, like, of what's going on. So tell us about the science fraud here with the PCR testing that happens in the water.
So, right in line with this consent decree, all of a sudden they want to test the water quicker. And so there's the original MPN test, which you pull water, you put it in a dish, you culture it, and it tells you how much bacteria is in it and if it can get you sick. And it's actually a great way to know which way it's trending. So, like, all of a sudden the cultures are going up. You're like, oh, there's more sewage in the water, or it's going down. Oh, it's getting cleaner. And you can kind of see what's going on. The PCR test was derived off of really the COVID nasal swab, very similar technology, and it just counts DNA. So as they start putting more sewage out, they're using a test that just counts DNA. Well, it can't tell you if it's live or dead. It can't tell you if you're going to get sick. It just tells you there's lots of DNA in the water.
Very, very similar to some other PCR tests that we had. And it came out around the same time.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What were we using to test the water before that?
It's called an MPN test, and it's world renowned. It's used everywhere. It's the standard. And this is a pilot program that the EPA allowed to happen because they wanted quicker monitoring, but it doesn't really have an expiration date. And the county water board, San Diego County Water Board, put it forward, and they won't talk about removing it. And you really have to ask some real questions here. We are going from, prior to this crisis of sewage, we used to get 3 million gallons a day. That's it. Now we're handling 40, 50, 60 million gallons a day.
Unreal.
It's like, all right, where did this come from? Well, it used to go down to Punta Banderas, 7 miles south. Now we're putting in our local ocean. And so along with sewage, you have all the fecal sludge. So if it's treated to tertiary treatment, there's 5% sewage sludge. But they're not treating it to tertiary treatment. They have a variance, and they always have, because they can't meet the Clean Water Act. So we don't know how much fecal sludge, but I'm going to say 10%. And then they have another variance that once they meet the 35 million gallons a day, and they have excess flows, they can free flow raw sewage through that pipe. So you're probably closer to 50%. So we have huge amounts of DNA being put into our local system, and you're counting it with this PCR test, and you don't know if it's live or dead.
But
Is there anybody that it's running any MPN tests alongside the PCR tests right now to get an accurate view of what our water is being measured at with the old way of testing?
They won't do it. They say for cost reasons, but um,
Can
a few
private citizens?
a few years back, the mayor of Coronado was challenged on the two methods, and they actually paid for it, and they did a whole year study, and they have the testing data side by side. And I can tell you, I have it. I can share it with you guys. I would say more than 50% of the time the beach was open in Coronado
Wow.
with the old test, which actually shows you
yeah, I've heard this.
if you get sick or not. And there's actually, it's called the Gershberg study. I think I shared it with you, but that is a peer review from scientists, and they show above 50% false positive with that PCR test.
And still the mayor of Coronado chose to keep the PCR. Is it his decision?
It's not his decision.
No.
It's the county water board
Okay.
authority. This guy named Dave Gibson, and he's done some really questionable things. He's part of the SB 507. He's part of the PCR test. So you really have to look at who he's aligned with. Is he working with nonprofits? What was his purpose? Or is he protecting the outfall because the county owns it? I don't know.
Okay, so what are they? Let me ask you this: what are they using to test the water north of Point Loma? Let's talk about La Jolla. Let's talk about Del Mar. Let's talk about Solana Beach.
MPN test.
Okay, you don't have to be dead on here. I want Dane's theory. Why the hell are they doing that? Why would they do that to San Diego? What is the reason?
You can. I mean, I have lots of theories.
Give me your top
doesn't,
one.
Doesn't mean it's true, but
Of course.
I think there's a liability that the county has with the outfall because they own it, and if they actually showed you what was coming out of it, it would be closed down.
Regardless of the testing. Okay.
No, if you had true testing,
The EPA's test.
the MPN test.
NPN.
Yeah.
Okay. So you think regardless, the beaches would be closed?
Yeah. And there's multiple reasons why. It's just there's such a huge volume of fecal sludge coming out of there. They can't possibly treat it all through the plant. It's not set up for it. And then the second is people really have to ask, like, what else is coming out that pipe? So we are the number one. Mexico is the number one trade partner with the U.S. above China now. China has come set up maquiladoras right across the border here. So you have manufacturing of cars and electronics and the Coca-Cola plant and chroming your rims. And you have all these things that are being put out this pipe now because all their waste goes in the river. But no one's testing for these toxic things. They're only testing for DNA.
So our toxicity has gone up with other materials, you think?
100%.
Oh my God. This gets even worse. So talk about this pipe real quick, because I learned about this pipe through you and through your papers and stuff. I didn't know it existed. Where's this pipe run from? How deep into the ocean does it go?
So growing up here during El Nino, I watched them put the pipes in. They had them all staged at the Pier Plaza. They came, picked them up on little barges. They'd pull them out, put them in. I climbed in the pipes as a kid.
No kidding. How much of a diameter are we talking about?
Probably 6 feet.
Okay.
That's what I recollect.
Yeah.
But I'd have to look and see. Maybe a little bit bigger. But so this pipe, they did this amazing thing. They drilled in, drilled out, but there was so much cobblestone. It was an unstable base. So they had to come out early. Like they were trying to get further out in the ocean,
Mm-hmm.
but it was just so unstable. They had to come up. So I don't know, mile out into the ocean, this piece comes out and then they connected the pipe and then it goes out another 2.5 miles. But it's a big Y. And so originally it was all capped off. They have like a manhole on each segment.
But it runs into South IB. I want to figure out where this connects to.
So if you went down to the border,
Yep.
you come back about 1,000 feet, It runs right under the road straight out into the ocean. So it's on the US side, pretty close to the border.
Okay.
So
Somewhere near that stadium.
it's about a mile south of IB,
Yep. Okay.
like IB Pier, maybe a mile and a half south.
Okay.
But it goes out, they say 3 miles, but it's only in 90 feet of water, and it's actually a lot shallower. So where it comes up is probably like 50 feet of water. And so where each segment connects in the top, they have like a manhole. So recently, because they upped the volume, they went out and took all the manholes off.
So it could,
So it comes out a lot closer to shore than people think. It's not just coming out the end of the pipe. It comes out because they can't have that much pressure.
too much, they overpressure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So to relieve the pressure, they have release hatches all the way along on the Y. And so the sewage comes out in plumes. And so when they have huge flows from Mexico, what you'll see when you're coming down the strand, you go over the little bridge, you look out in the ocean, you'll see these brownish streams going to Coronado in the
Yep.
water. And people are always going, "What is that?" Well, it's straight from the outfall. And if you look up, it's straight in line with
Unbelievable.
the shores of Coronado.
We saw a video, didn't we, Kristel, of, online? What was it? Instagram?
Yeah, it was on Instagram.
Whatever. It
Right
was
when
this
we first reached out.
floating
because-
pile of brown. Somebody filmed it just waddling its way down the beach. It's terrible. To be honest, I haven't gone in the water. I know you're a big surfer, and I'm a water guy. Like I'm a Cancer.
I'm a Cancer.
So yeah,
On the 4th of July.
July 22nd.
Nice.
I'm right on the cusp. I love the water.
Yeah.
We live on the water, and it's a shame. I'd go in. I said to her the other day, I'm gonna take a dive.
So
She's like, "Yeah."
honestly, since they've been putting the sewage out the outfall, we no longer have it coming straight out of the Tijuana River right on our shoreline.
Right.
We've actually had almost 2 months of clean water here. So we've been way below 4,000 parts per million on the PCR test. But when we did them side by side, anything under like 50,000 parts on the PCR test was basically clean on the MPN test. So we have actually really clean water in Imperial Beach right now because we're in the armpit of the South Bay Ocean Outfall.
Yep.
So you have this pipe, all the sewage is coming out here, the current's going by, we're getting clean water.
Is that why it's carrying it all to Coronado right now? And they're
Yeah.
getting dirtier water?
Yes. So you have the outfall, which if you were sitting on the end of the outfall and you look straight up, you're basically at North Beach.
So all
Okay.
this time we've been blaming Mexico, but in actuality, the problem lies on our end right now because we're the ones that have the contract to treat it.
So if you look at the data, prior to this SB 507 Minute Order 328 that it turned into,
Right.
we had 30 beach closures a year. Like prior to this new policy, we had 30 beach closures a year. The new policy, we've had 4 years of beach closures. So you really have to look at the nuts and bolts of what's going on.
You'd think that they would. Tourism is such a big deal for Coronado, San Diego, writ large.
It is.
I cannot believe that it's taking people like you at Grassroots to do this because it's mind blowing that they would even. This wouldn't be a major priority. Well, we have our theories on why it's not. I understand. Let's talk about scandal number 3. Apparently, and explain this to me because this seems to be diversion of funds on the Mexican side. So, new president, Mexico, Scheinbaum, I think it was, unless it started earlier, you can tell me. Some kind of highway. Funds got diverted to build some kind of highway. Explain that.
I can't really decipher where the funds are, but it came out of the NAD Bank.
What is
And
that?
The NAD Bank is how we fund projects in Mexico. So it's like a trade agreement bank. We put the money in the NAD Bank, or it comes out of kind of like tariffs. So we have we have trade with Mexico. We pull certain percentage out and put it in the NAD Bank, and we pay for infrastructure. During the Biden administration, someone from the State Department signed off on $800 million from Mexico to build the superhighway to the new Pacific Riviera. So when you hear the EPA, Lee Zeldin say we have the 100% solution, I'm sorry, it's a 100% solution for Mexico right now. They literally are building infrastructure. They're building towers in those places where that sewage used to run. I was there last week. That's a creek. What used to be a raging river of sewage is a little tiny creek. and all that sewage is now being displaced in the U.S. So they have clean beaches. They're building more homes. They're creating more sewage, and we're treating it.
So
But
now it's become now this seems like a conflict. Now Mexico, what's the motivation? They're getting what they want. They're getting what did you call it? The Pacific Palisades?
the new Pacific Riviera.
Pacific Riviera. Cons of Mexico.
So they built an $800 million superhighway from the airport to Playas Tijuana. And what used to take 30 minutes to an hour is now like 12 minutes. I just drove on it. It's a beautiful drive. But that was funded with American dollars. And here's the kicker. They drilled down, because basically it's a big bridge from here to there. They drilled down and drilled through all the infrastructure, all the sewage pipes. And then it's just running off the side of the road right down the valley into the U.S., where we used to never have flows. We have new creeks of sewage coming down. We have to figure out how to capture it.
What's Mexico's incentive to fix this problem?
The only way
Honestly.
it's gonna happen is we have to close borders, create a tariff, pay for it ourselves. But if you close the borders, that's their bread and butter. Every day that we have a closed beach, that border should be closed,
I totally agree with you.
and they would fix it really quick.
I completely agree with you, but it's not going to, because there's no other incentive.
There isn't.
The answer is, it was a rhetorical question, because if Mexico's got their superhighway, they've got an open,
Beautiful beaches.
the Riviera. Why would they fix it? It's on the U.S. It's a U.S. problem. Now we brought the problem home.
Yeah.
And
So in that document I found, so there's a, I can't think of the name. There's a group that is called SANDAG, and all these elected officials sit on it, and they all voted. And when they were going to build that superhighway, you look in the documents, it says that they were going to break the infrastructure in 2020. They knew it was coming. They didn't notify us. They said they were going to mitigate the flows. Well, they let it all run down the valley and onto our beaches for 4 years while they're building the superhighway. So the U.S. knew it was coming, and they did nothing to protect us.
why?
It's a great question.
Okay. So how much sewage today is flowing into our water? Today, 2026. Where
So
we're at.
I like to look at the river gauge. I look at it every morning, and when it's below 0.5, you have a really low flow. So Mexico turns the pumps off every night. And so the last 4 years, as they decommissioned infrastructure, they couldn't handle all that sewage anymore. So they would have to turn the pumps off at night, because when they turn them on, it was backflowing through the neighborhoods and flooding all these homes.
Whoa.
So we have a picture of the pipe right where the highway was built. This pipe used to go up the hill and go to Punta Banderas. Well, like on a Sunday, a tractor's there cracking it and popped it, and they never replaced it. And you have to ask why. Well, if you look at the SB 507 plan, it says decommission lift stations, decommission infrastructure, and bring all the sewage here. And in the plan, it says gravity feed it downhill into the U.S. Well, Tijuana's a hill. Without the lift stations, you're no longer pumping it over the backside to Punta Banderas. So someone knew what was coming. They just didn't let anyone know.
What is the name of the nonprofit again that's handling all of this?
In regards to?
To the pump station. So when we took it out of Mexico and brought it into the United States.
So there's a binational core group. There's a whole group of people that sit on it. There's
Binational core group. Okay.
lots of nonprofits.
Where does our mayor of IB sit on this subject right now?
The former mayor sits on the binational core group, and he has a nonprofit that directly benefits. Our next former mayor is now a county supervisor, and she supports all the plan that was in place. I have a document in 2019 while they sat on city council and mayor in IB. They wrote a decree welcoming 163 million gallons of Mexican sewage into the United States before we even knew what was going on. And I have that document, and you can read it.
Unbelievable. You should post it all over social media. What about the next mayor? Do we have anything in the pipeline coming?
So what's amazing is through all the movement, Mitch McKay is now our mayor, and He actually was the president of my nonprofit, C4CC, and he's no longer part of it because he's the mayor and he's very respectable. He doesn't want any, no one calling him out for sitting on a board or being a mayor and make decisions. So he's no longer part of our group, but
Surely he's concerned
he's
about.
very concerned and he's in talks with Lee Zeldin and he's trying to move the needle and he understands how to get the job done.
Do you have faith?
I do, because
Okay.
he has an engineering background. He's very thorough. He's challenged me to be a better steward of what I'm putting out. Like, he's a good dude.
What's his term look like right now?
He's running for mayor right now.
Okay. I saw the signs.
So if he wins, he would have 4 years as mayor.
What if he doesn't win? Is the opposition?
Whew. The people that are running against him are scary people. They
Okay.
support the plan that's being put in place, and they're tied to unions. They're tied to that dark money that's funded what we
IB,
have.
Mitch McKay. That's your guy.
Yeah.
That's your guy. I'm telling you right now. That's your takeaway.
Do we know what the agreement looks like in terms of the binational core group? How they're benefiting, like in dollar amounts, what they're getting to process this sewage, this waste?
They don't disclose that into consent decrees.
Okay.
I
So
have
we have
some-
no idea how they're benefiting from this deal that was made behind closed doors.
Well, it's beneficial, or they wouldn't be
Of
asking
course.
to be on that board still. What's really terrifying is you have Paloma Aguirre at the county level. She's our county supervisor, and she's advocating for a tax for all of San Diego County to pay for Tijuana sewage. And then if you really look at what they're asking for is it equates to $80 million a year, and it would go to this binational core group so that they could like manage the Tijuana crisis.
So they've already somehow negotiated something, a backdoor deal, or negotiated something behind the scenes that we're not privy to. And now on top of that, they're asking for money from taxpayers to fund this even further. Is that
Forever.
correct?
Forever.
Forever.
So you have to really look a little bit deeper. Like, if you and I had sewage coming from our neighbor's yard, what do? You go over there and you fix it. What does she do? She gives everyone air purifiers and says, you're going to live with it.
Right.
So let's talk about that, because what we're talking about mainly is actual physical sewage. You can see it floating. It floats up and down, closes beaches. But what got me interested in this whole thing and what a major topic. So I used to live a mile away from here. Had a condo right here at the edge of IB and Coronado line, Bayside. You know
Yeah.
what that place is. There were a few nights. Kristel was there, 2023, 2022. Walk outside, and I noticed, just on my own because I didn't know about the problem.
Yep.
I just noticed a smell.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about the smell. This is there is a Stop the Stink campaign, and we're going to talk about it. So I noticed the smell. It's very, it was faint, but strong enough to go, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
And it would come and go. Don't get it so much. We have since moved here, and I want you to explain what happened there, because that's another story. So we since moved here. Last year, Kristel, right? So we've got this IB place. We're deeper into the trenches where we want to be. All the locals, all our friends and good peeps are around. And first week we were here, right after moving in, I almost threw up outside.
No,
This is how bad the smell was. I go, what in God's name is that? And I made the connection with the signs, because I hadn't seen much of the signs. They're everywhere. It says Stop the Stink.
Yep.
This is driven by
so
your guys.
C4CC, the Citizens for Coastal Conservancy, the only local grassroots nonprofit that's educating and trying to make change. And it was so bad and everyone was so disconnected, we started a campaign that said Stop the Stink.
Yep.
And we made these signs, we put them all over town, and we're still being asked for them. Like, we were at an event yesterday where Todd Gloria was at, and people are asking us for these signs because it still affects everyone. And people don't want an air purifier. They want the stink to go away. And
Right.
this never was here. Like, in my 47 years living in Imperial Beach, we've only dealt with this the last 5 years.
Okay. What happened? First of all, explain what the gas is. It's
So-
hydrogen, H2S.
Hydrogen sulfide is not detrimental to you in the minute, but it's really bad for you long term. And so, like, being exposed to it long term can be really bad for your body in a lot of different ways. I actually have a little instrument.
Yeah, let's show this gadget that you use. And I thought this was one of those expensive, like the light doctor had. I thought this was like a $10,000 spectrum, but come to find out, rather affordable. Go ahead, Dane. Tell us what
Yeah.
this is.
So we have a little gas detector. And so we we have all these scientists that just come out of the woodwork and they work with the county, and the state government, and they say a lot of things and we're supposed to trust it. And so I wanted to go down there and figure out what was going on my own. And so we did. We tested it. We wanted to see if it lined up with what they were saying, because these scientists are saying there's illicit drugs or illicit materials being airborne and it's affecting people. Well, the studies don't prove that, but they're spending millions of dollars on this scientist who actually is tied to Fauci. Like her claim to fame is that she talked Fauci and the state of California into closing our beaches on us. So when you couldn't go to the beach, that was Dr. Prather. Dr. Prather is now, briefing Todd Gloria. That's what he told me yesterday. She is briefing uh Paloma Geary. They're using her, I want to say pseudoscience because it's kind of unproven. Like COVID never got airborne and killed everyone. So like she used this pandemic to her advantage, and now she's using it to create another pandemic, the sewage crisis, and she got $15 million from cryptocurrency. You don't know where it came from, but someone's funding her to keep the sewage crisis going.
So what did she do? Explain what she did with this gadget she created.
She created her own little instruments that gather PCR, I guess. What's funny is when they first rolled it out, right? I know where the sink is. I told them where the stink is. Where do they put the instruments? They put them on the Imperial Beach pier on top of the bathroom. It's probably 40 feet in the air. They put an instrument on the lifeguard tower, 30 feet in the air. They go put it down by the freeway on the 5 freeway on a fire station. And I've got this gadget and I went straight to the source. It's right here on Saturn. It's this dip in the road, right where the sewage comes across. And you go and this thing goes off. It's alerting you. Holy crap! There's hydrogen sulfide everywhere. Get out of here. So then she does this publicity stunt. She starts putting her stuff down there at the source. Well, the county wants to spend millions of dollars to redo this infrastructure, change this culvert, and some locals came together. And instead of having the county spend $3.5 million to change the culvert, they cleaned the culvert, got the water down to the culvert level so it's not coming rushing in from the top and spraying out the other side and aerating. The aggregate on the other side was restacked, so it's not dropping 3 feet like a waterfall, it's dropping inches, and it's not airborne anymore. So in the last month and a half, most people are like, "Whatever's going on, it's working." Well
100%.
Yeah, we've
well,
noticed a difference.
Haven't smelled. We've kept the windows open. So I told you we haven't smelled it. And I don't have any wood to not. Well, here's some wood.
yeah, knock on wood.
Because it's been kind of nice. So just to explain to everybody what you told me, the reason that gas was aerating, or the water was aerating to the gas, it's basically sewage off gassing. It was the water was rushing at a high level, going to a low level at
Correct.
super fast speeds,
Yes.
causing it to aerate. And so all they did was level that off.
Yep.
So that it trickles in a slower fashion.
Yep.
So where are we at with that?
Well, I think it's helped mitigate a lot of the stink, but it's not the end all be all solution. We need to get Mexico on board. We need to hold them accountable. We need to take care of it at the point source. Like, you wouldn't want your neighbor sending all their sewage in your yard in perpetuity, and then they want you to reclimate it and give them back free hose water.
Yeah, it makes no
Yeah,
sense.
not happening.
In perpetuity for nothing. How dangerous is hydrogen sulfide? Have you done the studies on the research?
I've read the research, and it's not good for you. in short amounts, it's not detrimental, but it's not something you want to be exposed to long term because it can do a lot of damage to the brain, your organs. So the closer you are down on Coronado and down by Leon Avenue, um, it,
Coronado Ave, you mean in IB?
yeah, you
Yep.
go down Coronado,
Yep.
you go down Saturn, there's a Leon's like the last one by the horses, kind of. As you go down that hill, there's the Border Patrol. So you have the Border Patrol station right
Mm-hmm.
there, and then there's that little river that is creating all that stench. But to your point, when you moved here, all of us, um, it smelled like if you're ever on a construction site and they come clean the porta potty, it smells like that, but worse.
I can't even describe it. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's indescribable.
It wakes you up out of your sleep.
Well,
Like,
yeah.
3 in the
it,
morning, I would wake up. We kept the windows open.
Oh, so bad.
Literally wake me up, and I sleep pretty damn good. Wake me up, and I immediately she go into action, shutting the windows. It's that bad. It is so bad.
So while they're crumpling infrastructure in Mexico, they call it a crumpling pipe. They would go break these pipes with a tractor and pull out the lift stations that was pumping upstream. And so that's that crumpling infrastructure they talk about. And I've looked, and every time we've had these big stinks, big flows, 30 million gallons at night while we're sleeping, they turn them off at like 8 at night and they turn them on at 8 in the morning. So we have these substantial flows of
At 3
sewage
a.m.
at 3 a.m.
Yep.
gets to down in the river because it takes hours for it to get down the river. And so that's what we're getting. And then you have the fog bank, little marine layer that comes in, it kind of
Trapping it.
traps it, holds
Yep.
it in. And
For
then once
sure.
it clears, that stench goes away.
Interesting. Yeah. So, I mean, just to have the so talk about. There's a website in IB. We'll post it after on the show notes. We'll post it so people locals can go to it. We just discovered it when the smell was that bad, where it tracks the rates. I think it's parts per million (ppms).
So on our website, Citizens for Coastal Conservancy, if you go there and you look at water data, on there we have our own little piece that we made with some AI, and it just replicates the IBWC.
Oh, good.
But
Okay.
you can go to the bottom and you can click on it, and it'll give you the rates, and it'll give you the last 4 days.
And at which hour it peaked? You
Yeah,
have
and
all
it'll show
that
you
data.
peak. So
So
water
there were
data,
times I saw it go to 300 parts per million at 3 a.m.
we're probably looking at a different chart, but what I go off of is the river gauge.
Okay.
So the river gauge tells you how much water is coming straight down to our estuary, which goes out on our beach. All the other flows that we get go out the ocean outfall, but this is the chart.
And that's time of day. You can see the spikes.
So you can see the spikes every evening.
And am I looking at hydrogen sulfide gas?
Well, that's straight sewage. That's a byproduct of sewage. So the more sewage you
One
get,
coincides with the other.
hydrogen sulfide is a byproduct
100%.
of sewage.
Okay. I would rather direct people to your website than the cities if you're covering what they cover, which I'm sure you are.
Yeah, I just pulled up a screenshot on my phone from April 20th, 1 a.m., 341 parts per billion.
Yep. Parts per billion. I was saying it
Billion.
wrong.
Yeah, so that's
ppb.
Parts per million.
That's the hydrogen sulfide.
Yep.
So that's the county website.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And they have the 3 stations here. One's
Yep.
right here. I forget what the building is called. Okay. So this is a serious problem. We've got a gas problem because of the sewage problem. And it's just mind blowing to me. What right now for you and your organization is the path forward? What are the next steps here?
So we actually have a foolproof, like off the shelf technology, a way to fix this issue. It's not rocket science, but it takes political will. So we need people that are organized, that are connected, that can help us get there to Sacramento, get us to DC and talk to the administration that's able to make moves because we really have a short window. Trump is an action man, and if we can get it done during his tenure, he can get it done. But if we go into another presidency where it's just a lame duck or it's more NGO profiteering, this will never get fixed.
What's the technology?
So it's called integrated pond systems, advanced integrated pond systems. And so it's much more efficient than uh, a wastewater treatment plant.
How's
It's
it work?
so you have 4 ponds in line, and it works with velocity. And so as sewage comes through, it goes into a pond. You have like a bio. I don't know exactly how to explain it. I would have to read it off a chart for you, but there's there's natural elements that eat sewage,
Right.
and so it goes through 4 stages. And then once you get to the 4th stage, it's
Those
four
are the 4 ponds.
yeah,
Boom,
it's
boom, boom.
40% cleaner than what the IBWC would get. Then you can throw it through the wastewater treatment plant and have full clean water, and then you can take this clean water and we can do injection wells up by Otay Lakes, or we can sell it to Mexico, or we can replenish our lakes.
Where would the ponds be? US
Pon
side or Mexican side?
So what's, amazing is we have federal land that runs along the border,
BLM.
and it's all, national or federal managed land.
Yep.
So in the river valley is where I propose you already have the sewage coming down. You put the 4 ponds in place. All the sewage would be there. You'd be able to treat up to 300 million gallons a day, and it gives you like 10-day buffer. So like if you had a big flow, it's there. When you have a small flow, it's there, and the IBWC is able to process it. Um, on really big rain events, nothing's going to be able to capture all that, and you let it blow out into the ocean. The ocean cleans itself within 72 hours. But the whole premise is you no longer use the South Bay Ocean Outfall as the faucet of
Be all
sewage.
end all. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a safety measure. You're not supposed to use that as the end all be all.
Right. But in essence, we're still keeping the problem on our side
Right.
if we build these ponds.
We are, but here's the thing. Like Orange County just did what I'm talking about. They take all their sewage, they bring it like up to Yorba Linda up in the mountains. They do injection wells. They have it come down. They're extracting it, selling it. They're making $300 million a year in water. So why would we spend $1 billion over here and then dump the water in the ocean and
Yep.
not finish the treatment?
Yep. Who designed this plan?
It's just off the
It's
shelf
been a
technology.
standard technology.
So yeah, I mean
Interesting.
it's implemented in Australia. It's implemented around the world where waste treatment plant isn't practical. It's too expensive to use.
How much would it cost?
$1.7 billion,
How much have we wasted already?
more than that.
Yeah, exactly. Infinitely more.
Yeah.
Why does Mexico not want to get its hands on it and then do this project if they can make money off the water?
Well, in the last minute order 328, someone agreed to give them 40 million gallons a day for free. So why
Right.
wouldn't why would they?
So they're
Right.
selling, they could be selling that water already anyway.
Well, they're getting water right now. Our lakes are really empty. We're sending them like 12 million gallons a day right now
Wow.
Just
from Otay Lake.
part of our trade agreement.
I don't know exactly. I think they're purchasing it at like a super discounted rate, but the going rate going forward is $4,000 an acre foot. So if you did the math, what we get out of this river valley would be about $280 million a year. So if we created a water department, we reclamate the water, we resell it, we could fix this. We can pay back the 1.7 billion in 10 years.
Unbelievable. Like a bond.
Yeah. Do a bond, have all the taxpayers pay for it. We get it implemented. We clean it. We no longer have sewage going in the ocean. We reclamate the water. We sell it back to Mexico. We put it out in the desert where they need water. We put it in the lakes where they're empty.
This sounds almost too good to be true, which this is how strong corruption is, in my opinion. I mean, it's unbelievable. What can we do? What can people do to help you, your organization? The story now, hopefully we laid that out in layman's terms as best we could. You did a great job educating us, first of all. So what can we do? Where does it start locally and spread out?
Like our mission is just to educate and move this forward. Whoever gets it done, like thank God, I don't need my name on it, but what we're doing right now is a petition drive on our website. We're trying to petition Um, Trump, the EPA, there's a guy that's renegotiating the USMCA agreement, Greer. Um, we're petitioning those people. So we've sent them over 500 signature letters from our drive. We need more people to send and just say, hey, we don't want more sewage on our beach. And we need to revisit this 100% solution because it's not going to be sustainable. So, you know, right now, their push is to 50 million gallons a day out the outfall. Right now, we're at like 35. They're trying to get to 50. They're trying to get that plant to do 50 a day. Well, in the document, it says they want to go to 163 million a day. So right now, we have brown stuff washing up in Coronado. There's unknown toxic substances coming out, and we're not at 50 million gallons a day, and they want to triple that.
Who's they?
Well, the policy that's in place, Minute Order 328, the SB 507 plan.
I don't understand. This is where I get flabbergasted, like literally flabbergasted.
I'm wondering, just given that the Navy SEALs train in this water, how come this is not a federal crisis? How come how can they allow this to continue?
It's it's a tough one. I've been told from some top brass that it makes them stronger because they're going to be in nastier stuff and overseas.
That's the dumbest answer I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Whoever said that, slap them in the face.
Yeah.
Like literally slap them in the face. This is why people shouldn't be stars. I should have stayed in. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It's not just our special operations units. It's our small boats. It's our patrol craft. It's even the air crew. They train in the water as well.
Yeah,
You
our
see
technicians.
everybody.
Yeah.
We have 5 bases sitting around this water. And now these team guys have to go modify training and go into the bay. Oh, let's talk about the bay real quick. How safe is the bay? Everybody's like, "Oh, it's safe over there." I find that hard to believe. Probably safer because of the flow in the inlet into the. But you're probably more versed on that.
Yeah, I mean, there's some toxic areas in the bay, but for the most part, if it's not raining, the bay is pretty clean. Um, the Tijuana River gets stuck in the littoral cell, but then you have that jetty that kind of blocks the bay entrance, and it circles out into the ocean. So the toilet bowl stays in the ocean.
right
It
up
doesn't
there.
really go in the bay.
Right.
Yeah. We had one summer where the Point Loma outfall, a submarine hit it, cracked it, and all the sewage was going in the bay. It was polluting all the way down to Imperial Beach because it has that northern current. So all the sewage was coming ashore for a whole summer. Our water was brown and disgusting.
When was this?
Early 2000s, I want to say.
Oh, okay. Long time ago.
But they got sued, and they actually had to extend their pipe out miles further.
Where's that pipe at?
So it's right off Point Loma. So
Straight out.
So if you went over from the Dolphin tank straight over, there's a
Yep.
pump station, and it used to go 250 feet in the water, and it was coming a surface. They got sued. They had to bring it out to 450 feet of water, 4 fathoms, and it no longer was surfacing. Yet we're putting Mexican sewage that's not even treated in 90 feet of water.
Unreal.
Unreal.
Okay. And when it rains, how bad is it in the bay? Heavy rain.
Heavy rain, it's disgusting. So you have the National City. I don't know what that river is. I want to say the Otay River, but that brings a lot of trash down. The Otay River, I guess, comes out at the salt flats. So you have the salt flats, there's a little river. You have the National City, Sweetwater River, I guess
Yep.
that would be. And then you have right by 32nd Street, a huge flush that comes out of that area, and it's all urban runoff. So you're going to have a lot of motor oil.
That goes right into the bay.
Goes right in the bay.
Oof, I didn't know that.
And then you have the shipbuilding yards, which has been there
Yeah,
forever.
ever.
And there's a lot of stuff on the bottom that you don't want to get turned up.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Oh, God. So the flesh eating we've had, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but there's been quite a few flesh eating disease directly related to the bacteria in the water.
100%.
Clearly.
Yeah.
There was one when I was ops at Buds before I retired. We had a kid, half his leg, half his calf got taken out. Ended up making it through training, but they were out of training for at least a year before they came back in. But there's people that have not survived in the past. So yeah, this is a major problem.
Major problem.
What's your website?
Citizens for Coastal Conservancy.
Yeah.
It's kind of a long one.
.com? .org. Okay. .org. We're going to post it. We'll post it here. Where else can we find you on socials?
We're on Instagram. You've probably seen our videos. A lot of people have reused our videos. A week ago, we posted the brown water in Coronado, and we had 2 million views in 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what's the Instagram? We'll post these again in the notes.
It's C4CC, Citizens for Coastal Conservancy on Instagram.
Okay. Any other socials?
Yeah, we have a little one on X, but I think Instagram's our biggest platform and our website.
Yep. Okay. So follow Dane. We'll post these. We laugh because it's so ridiculous to think about what's going on in the travesty that's happening here in Southern California. A lot of the vacationers, people that across the country, across the world, come here. They don't understand the problem. They have no idea what's going on, and that they just know that the beach is closed. I'm sure they swim in it anyway. But what is that, by the way? So if they close the beach, people could still go in it. Nobody's sitting out there going, "Hey, you can't go in here."
No, it's just a health advisory, and you have to take your own risk, like anything. But it's interesting because we're now posting what's happening in Coronado, and it's a direct effect to the policy of putting the sewage out the outfall. They didn't do that before, so IB was being inundated. Now Coronado is being inundated because it's direct
Right
line
there.
of the outfall.
Yep.
And I work in Coronado. I do a lot of contracting, and people have heard me talk about this for years. Well, now I'm getting text messages from very wealthy people going, "This is bullshit. What can we do?"
See,
I'm getting pissed off. And I'm actually getting pushback. People are saying, "Hey, can you stop posting those videos?" But we can't put our head in the sand. Hope isn't a strategy. We need to move forward with, a movement.
Well said.
That needs to get this done.
Don't you dare stop posting. Do not. I'm proud of you. Do not fall for that political pressure because it's bullshit.
Yeah.
It is absolute bullshit. They're trying to cover it up. Need to keep posting. I'm proud of you. You're a warrior. We've got something for you now that I've mentioned that. Every guest, and you've earned this one, gets a fourth phase helmet, just like you're in Buds, but you're in the fourth phase. We wrote a little note from Kristel and I on the back for you, so you get that.
That's so awesome. When my brother was in Buds, I would help him sand all the rough spots off, paint his helmets so that they look pretty.
So they don't do that anymore, right?
I heard.
Yeah, they're lazy. I can't tell you. I still have my original 3 helmets. They're in the other studio in Texas.
Yeah.
All 3 phases, but yeah, we had to go buy the old M1 helmet. I think they're called M1 helmets or something. The old Army. We had to go to the surplus store.
Yeah.
You were on your own, and they would break
Joes.
them. The instructors would crack them. Yep. GI Joes, and we had to paint them. Yeah, you remember because your brother went through that. Now they get them from Supply. Lazy team guys.
Wow. That's
painted nice and pretty.
They don't even know.
The stress of just painting and putting the stickers on. That's why we built these. The original, we actually get them painted, but we do put our own stickers on there just to remind us. Actually, Kristel does it.
I appreciate this. This is really meaningful.
Yep, that'll be a guess. I got a coin for you, one of my personal coins.
Awesome.
You're gonna take it with the shake. Yep. So that's best coin in the Navy. So that's my retirement coin. But thanks for coming on the show. This is really important. Again, I'm glad to have met you. I love meeting the warrior that's out there fighting us. And here you are live, and we'll try to spread this. We will help you post. Let us know what you need from us.
I just want to show you my shirt.
Oh, yeah. What do we got here? Stop. I got to get one of these.
Stop the stink.
I got to get one. I love it. Yep. Stop the stink shirt. Everybody, do you sell them? Are you giving them away?
Yeah, we're going to sell them. I did a little run just to see if people were interested.
Oh, yeah. After this, they'll be interested. We'll post it on the how to get them on the website.
Awesome.
We'll link up and do that.
Appreciate it.
All right, everybody. If you have questions for Dane, you want to know more about the situation, visit his website. Like I said, we'll post all his socials, all his info on the website. We'll share his socials on our Instagram and our TikTok and everything. You can find us at the Fourth Phase Podcast, at the Fourth Phase Podcast. Anybody that watches this on YouTube, please like and subscribe to the show. That's what gets us going. Let's get up to 1,000 followers. We're almost there. We need your help. Like and subscribe. And we'll push out anything we can on the current situation. Dane will give us updates. I'll check in with him. But let us know. Drop in the comments. If you have a question, you have a concern, or you're just curious about the whole situation, and I'll get the info from Dane, or I certainly can't answer because I'm so inundated with this information.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Come check out the Bat Cave.
Yeah. And locals, go check out the Bat Cave. That's going to be my next field trip. I'm going to the Bat Cave, see Dane and crew, and see the Intel Center that's going on there. And I'll report back on the show.
Awesome.
All right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this one. This is a big one. It's important. And thanks for watching.
Thanks.